Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to individuals and organizations who are impacting lives positively. And this is your girl, Mama K, Kemi Akiode Adebayo. And today's program, I've got my young sister friend, Bright Lamla Nonzinyana. I need to pronounce it well. Did I pronounce it well?
You tried.
I tried. Well, you're going to tell me how to pronounce it. So, welcome to Impact Africa, Lamla. So, how do I pronounce it?
Nonzinyana.
Nonzinyana. What does it mean?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay, where were you born? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Nyanga,
Okay.
in KTC.
Nyanga is a township
Just around the corner.
in Cape Town. No, some people don't know where that is. So we're in Nyanga, Cape Town,
Yes,
which is
Cape
in
Town.
South Africa.
Yeah, I was born in Cape Town, Nyanga,
Okay.
in a township, a small township called KTC. Yeah, that's where I grew up with my family and cousins and everybody else.
Okay, what position are you in the family?
Well, when it comes to the grandchildren, I'm the third born.
Okay.
The third eldest.
The third eldest.
Amongst around 10, I think.
Okay.
And
Wow.
my father, so there's two.
Okay.
There is another guy. We just 1 year gap between.
So that's a big family, obviously.
Yeah.
But I heard you saying there that your grandchild. So did you grow up with your grandmother?
I was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
And grandfather.
Right. Your maternal grandmother or your paternal?
My paternal.
Paternal grandmother. So can I ask how old you are?
I'm 29.
29. Just almost there for the 30. Why are you scared?
I don't like big numbers.
You don't like big numbers though. Big numbers is good. So tell us, what was your experience like growing up in Nyanga?
Oh, well, it was more or less the same for everyone who grows up in a township.
Which is?
It was fun. We were growing up as young children, but then when you get to a certain age, then a person has to make different choices because it's not easy growing up in the township. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of teenage pregnancy. There's a lot of things that you don't plan. A lot of things that then they don't tell you about or that you don't see from a day to day. But then when you get to experience them firsthand, that are very hard to deal with. But then you get by.
So how have you managed, all those negatives? How have you managed to be where you are? Or have you had some experience yourself?
Well, I think I was blessed because I was raised by my grandmother. She was a very strict person.
Okay.
So rest in peace. She was very
She's
strict.
passed on.
Yes.
Okay.
We buried her last year.
Oh, last year.
I think on the
Okay.
7th of March now.
Oh, sorry. So it's still fresh.
It's still fresh, yes.
Okay.
But then she was a very nice person, very strict. But for me, it wasn't about the fact that she was strict, but rather than I wanted to keep her happy because I was raised by her because my parents died when I was very young. So it was more or less I didn't want to disappoint. So I tried my best not to do half the things that other girls my age did. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew the consequences that would come with it. And I wasn't ready to face all of that. So I wanted to be the best that I could for her.
So what age were you when your parents passed on?
I think I was 4.
Wow. So it must have been tough.
Yeah, I
So you didn't really know them?
Exactly, yeah. I just know them from pictures, family pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously your grandmother now passed on last year. How was that for you? Must have been tough.
Well, it's still tough. I'm still trying to put the pieces together, but yeah, life goes on. I guess.
And she will want you to take on life, that life goes on. And like what you said, the foundation she's given you, she'll be able to help you to, navigate yourself, in this world. Now, let's go into poetry. How did you get into poetry? Yeah.
I don't think I had to get into it.
Okay.
It was just something that was always there because growing up in the township, you gotta have something to cling on to as a way of, of navigating, as you said, something to cope with everything that was going on. So it's either somebody would sing or somebody would be a rapper or they would do sport, whatever.
So you have to find something else, to help you. Yes.
So I wrote half the time, and that time I didn't even know if I did short stories.
Mm.
I would be the kind of person in the class where people would listen to me on break times, on free periods, because I was always having a new story to tell. I wrote stuff, and then one of the days I realized I could turn this into poetry if I just put the pieces as and make it a stanza by stanza instead of just collecting the story as it is and just writing it out, mixing everything.
Right.
So yeah, one of my teachers told me I could go far if I wrote this, and I made it seriously, took it as serious as I should. So I did, and that's when poetry came.
Which school did you attend?
I attended a local school firstly.
Okay.
It's in Nyanga
Okay.
Terminus.
Okay.
I think in grade 3.
Okay.
So they decided to look for a better school, as they would say. So I went to a colored school called Alisdale Primary. I think that's
Okay.
where my foundation
Really
took
took place.
Yeah. And then I went to the Eastern Cape because my grandma was moving. I
Okay.
only started grade 8 here.
Okay.
My grandma moved to Eastern Cape, and then that's where we went to Butterworth High School. And that's
Okay.
where everything started, where poetry really came.
Really kicked off.
Yeah, because I found people who understood this different talent that I had.
Hmm.
And I really took it seriously when I was there.
Okay. So what kind of short stories or poems do you actually write?
Well, for me, it's very difficult because I think I've been exposed to a lot of negativity, if I should put it like that. And there has been no happy ending to any story that I know. So there hasn't been a poem that it's that much that's got to do with a lot of laughter or happiness. So I've been writing a lot of sad events, and I would get people who would say they'd relate because apparently they've been through some sort of ordeal that's similar to what I've written about. So I guess I talk to people who have been bruised, who have memories, who have problems that I've dealt with in the past, and then I sort of relate in a way. I don't know how, but then I end up talking about someone other's experience from way back.
Right. So when you write and we share, some of your stories, and when younger as well, and there's all the drama, the dogs barking, people talking, which is fine to some extent, to be honest. Do you use your writing to, because now you're still in the environment and you've gone through a lot, like you said, you've seen a lot, and thank God you've made yourself kind of, through your grandmother and the support network you have to stay narrow and on the right track. So do you use writing as a way to distress, for you? I mean, the sad, because your poems, from what I know, is not about, like you said, not normally a happy ending. And I'm like, Lamla, we don't get something else. But I think that's your niche. That's who you are. That's the style, you have. So for you personally, so are you using that as a way to just, are some of those your personal stories? Maybe that's what I'll go into. Or stories that you've heard, from other people.
Well, half the time it wouldn't be a story that I've experienced naturally, but then after someone would come up and say, I've been there and know what it means. So I don't really say, no, I didn't, that was just a piece.
Right.
So I would say it's, I take other people's experiences, I put myself in someone else's shoes. Or I think I've been put in other people's shoes because I don't think I've chosen how to write poetry. I also do want to write poems that are more fun. But I guess we all have a calling, and my calling is to talk to a certain type of people. Yeah, so my poems have been said, yes, but then I guess it's a way of living. I don't think poetry is a talent for me. It's a coping mechanism. Because without it, then I don't know, because I don't know how to talk about my problems half the time.
Right.
Some of the experiences are mine, but more of the time it's other people's experiences. A recent poem that I've done where I wrote about this girl. She killed her boyfriend in self-defense.
Okay.
And then now the people don't talk about her side of the story. It's as if she's been a bad person all the time. Now they've forgotten that this person has been bad. So when I came into the scene, I didn't want to write about her. It happened that I was put in her shoes. What about her? What happens to her now that he's dead and then he can't talk for himself? Now all of a sudden people forget that he was a bad person.
Okay.
Before the events, before that day, this terrible ordeal happened. And I do understand what happened. I do understand that they were in love. It was a mistake and whatever. And you can't justify anything for people for putting a person to sleep permanently.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I don't choose what to write about. So I go deep. I understand sometimes. I offend people.
Well, I don't think it's about you offending people. I think it's because it's so deep, and it's sometimes the truth that we don't want to face, even if we're not the one experiencing it, but we know about it. And like you said, it's calling for you, I believe, and at the same time, a coping mechanism, as you said. So now we're going to try and hear one of your poems. We'll stop to hear that so that, I don't know, what would you title this one?
I'm not sure. This one didn't have a title.
Okay.
So.
All right. When you're ready.
I was young and full of dreams, but going to prison was never one of them. I never imagined I would stand in front of a judge, but there I was, standing there. I'm standing there helplessly waiting for the man sitting in front of me to determine my faith for something I didn't even do. I put my hands up to God even before the security guard hands me the Bible to swear under oath. I would put both hands in the Ngazbeka Zombini just to clear my name. Ngoba I'm innocent. I kept repeating, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Mnumzana Andimulelanga, he was my best friend. The only thing I'm guilty of is watching him die instead of calling for help. Ngoba ndandingazi, I was too young to understand. My name is Nkosinati, and indeed Nkosinati. Ngoba one lousy morning I was playing in the river with a friend when he had a seizure, fell into the water and drowned to death. Sela kwaba ndandimtsalile ndambona ndibuya qhula njengesiqhelo. Akwabe benovuka zonhlangula ngoba ngoku ndisenkundleni yamatyala ngixoxa ngomlala, and the only witness I have uleli kobandayo.
Wow. That was deep, even though I didn't understand some of what you were saying, because you were saying it in Xhosa, and that's the beauty of what you do. So what were you saying there? Just, I know you didn't finish, which was a story that didn't complete, but what was that about? What was the poem about?
The poem is about this guy who almost got arrested for a friend's murder.
Okay.
It's not a murder, but then the guy drowned in a river. They were playing and then he drowned. So everybody assumed that he did something to him, but then he tried explaining. Apparently they did I think an autopsy afterwards. Okay. That's how he got away.
Right.
Otherwise he would have been arrested. The people who paid the money for him to do an autopsy, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
deep.
They paid forensics just to clear his name. So I ended the poem on where the guy explains that he didn't do anything wrong. He can testify any day just to clear his name. I think I ended where the guy explains that the only person who's able to clear his name is now the only person that they're talking about, the actual person who's gone. Yeah. So there won't be no one to clear his name. It ends there. But then, fortunately for him, he was cleared off.
Awesome. Wow. So that had a happy ending. So not all your friends have a happy ending, because he could have been jailed and then he's committed for a crime he didn't really commit, and there's a lot of real stories of that in a lot of places. So what are some of your achievements and successes in what you've been doing as a poet?
Well, I wouldn't say successes, but I've tried entering a couple of competitions back in the days. I've been in a competition where I stuck with it. Said Ostofus is what the competition is called, and it happened annually. I think it happens in the. It's an Afrikaans.
I know it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
And then so I was there half the time, and then I stopped going to the competitions, and then I've been on the finals for most of the competitions. And you were on Tigerberg Heritage Festival talent show as well. I was also on the finals.
Yes.
One. And then I've been Also on finals, I think I was the third place for Vulcani newspaper, which was our newspaper in the area.
Okay.
Community newspaper.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I've been on those, but then I guess I've forgotten how to go back to competitions.
Well, I think you need to do more competitions as well to get yourself more confident. But I know I've seen you grown over the years. Where now you're, performing, at various functions. You performed at our racism conference. You've performed at various other openings and things like that. So I've seen you grown over the years. So, but what are some of the challenges for you as a poet?
Well, the challenge the most would be the fact that poetry is not easy to understand. I guess it's not everyone's favorite thing.
Yeah.
People prefer singing, prefer dancing, and other stuff. So it's not everybody's
cup of tea.
Yeah. So you get those certain people who do understand you, and then at the same time, it's been a challenge because you don't find the kind of audience that you're catered for. So you don't get booked for events all the time.
Right.
People, especially for me, because my poetry is very deep, so I wouldn't be invited to weddings and stuff like that, because I'm not going to talk about love affair or whatever. So that's been a big challenge.
Okay. Right. So how have you managed to overcome them?
I try what I do is I'm trying right now, but it's been difficult. I'm trying to write poetry that is a bit light note.
Okay.
I would say. But it's been difficult.
Okay. But to say that though, light note will take you away from what you know. It's about deep and so. So now let's go on to, have you experienced any form of discrimination as a woman or as a poet or as a young person?
Well, as a poet, no, I wouldn't
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Well, people love my poetry.
Right.
Those who know about me, I've been lucky enough. But then, as a woman, I think we always discriminated wherever we go. Maybe it wasn't really that deep, but then yes, there has been a lot of discrimination.
Right.
Sometimes people want to look at you a certain way because you have a certain thing that they maybe have interest in. Maybe the type of way that you dressed, a type of way that you built. They want to take their chance at you.
Yeah.
So yes, there has been a lot of discrimination.
Okay.
But we live and we
Yeah. And with COVID, last year, you obviously sadly lost your grandmother, who was one of your probably strong support system. How have you managed to cope as a young person and someone living in the township?
To be quite honest, it's not been easy. But I have my days. There are certain days where I don't even want to get out of bed because she's not there anymore. Half the things I've been doing in my life, it's always been to prove to her that she can be proud of me. I wanted to make her proud. So last year when we spoke about this. We've always spoken about when she would have to go. So what will happen?
So she's spoken to you about that?
She's tried to sort of like prepare me for it, but then I guess you can never be fully prepared for such. So I've been trying to contain myself. But then I have my days where I feel like today is not one of those. Because she would be like, if it's hard, then I would picture what if she was here? Would she want me to give up? But to be quite honest, for me, going on a day without thinking about her, then I would say that's a big achievement for me on that day. But I don't, unfortunately, for now. So I'm trying day by day, and I have people or friends who try and support me all the way, and I try and be very open to them because I have my days when it comes to her. I feel like I centered my life around her, and I forgot that there is a world that exists after. So now I don't know the purpose of me being here if she's not here. I don't know how to do things or why should I even bother, because I wanted to do everything for her. It was all about us together doing things. So now why should I even bother doing things if she's not here to see? But then sometimes I get reminded that she did everything so that I could be here.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the bottom line. And she will want you to continue, and not to get stuck. And, you know, she probably is one of those, I know she's gone, but I'm still using a present tense for her because she's here for you. She probably is one of those modern kind of women who would have spoken about death to you, that, yeah, what happens after she's gone. She probably saw that you depended on her. So in a way as well, you know, she was there, you know, basically for you. Okay, we're going to stop right there and we'll be right back.
Suddenly akuvumi ndithule. Suddenly I find myself crying ubuthongo behli nokutya kungeni. I can't sleep, imibono yezidumbu zidunduluzile kwiindulo zaseMarikana. Amapolisa babulela abafana. Those were brothers, husbands killed for 1,200 rands. Hayakuvumi ndithule. When that picture keeps replaying in my mind of that Obel day, imini yoloyika. Guns firing, bullets blazing, bodies lying down, blood covering the hills of Marikana, and as the smoke and smell of gunpowder clears, as the dust settles, the picture remains behind. Umfanekiso manyukunyeza bagrumbi golide bedunduluzile besilwa lisonka sabo. Akuvumi ndithule for my brothers in Marikana who are more than just minors but fathers and husbands who live behind children fatherless, abafazi bengabafelokazi. For my brothers in Marikana who are more than just minors but fathers and husbands who live behind children fatherless, abafazi bengabafelokazi. For my brothers in Marikana, this is akuvumi ndithule.
Wow, another powerful poem you just did. I heard where was it?
Marikana.
Marikana. Okay, so that was about the Marikana miners,
Yeah.
and so on. That was beautiful. So, where do you see yourself in the future as a poet? Or where would you like to see yourself? Maybe let me change it to that. Yeah.
Of course I want to do my poetry and I want the world to hear what I've got to say. I believe I have something good to say, or there's a lot of people that need to hear what I have to say. I hope to stand on stages, hopefully maybe get my poetry recorded, have my own channel on YouTube, but I'm trying to get that all up to speed. Hopefully get a lot of people interested and just open my own organization where I deal with a lot of young children who also want to do poetry.
Right. So obviously you want to be able to help other young people, you know, in training and bringing them up. So you've got a YouTube channel. We will share that at the end of the program. And I know you mentioned probably doing a story or writing, book.
Yes.
So do you want to share? Or I know it's not fully, but just to give us a kind of an idea, about it.
I wanna do a book about my version of events. Well, everything that's got to do with growing up in the townships and everything that I've had to deal with growing up in the townships, the ordeals that I've had to pass through, in order for me to keep going. And being raised by my grandparents, all of that I want to put into a book, and then I want to compile it with every story has to be connected with a certain poem, just to give people an idea of who I am. So some sort of an autobiography. Yeah.
So when should we expect that?
Well, I'm not sure.
So that will be back.
I still need to discuss that with you. When everything is done,
Yeah,
then I'll get
finally.
back to the
Okay.
people and give them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but you've got enough materials to work on,
Yeah.
and you've started writing.
I've already completed maybe 2 chapters
Okay.
when it comes to the stories.
Okay.
And then I have the poems already.
Okay, how many chapters are you looking into?
Hopefully 10 chapters.
10
would be enough,
chapters,
yeah.
okay.
Not a big book, just enough so people can understand who I am and where I come from.
And what do you hope to achieve through a book like that? Apart from understanding who you are.
I want people to... I want to reach certain people that maybe have experienced certain events that are similar to mine, and I want them to know that it's not the end of the world.
Right.
I want them to know that there are other people who go through the same things, but then they overcome everything. It's not the end of the world, and there's a lot that I went through, that I do talk about in my poetry. So I want to connect with those certain people that have been through some difficult hardships in their lives.
Okay, well, I think we're probably going to stop there. I had more questions, but this is a continuous conversation we're going to be having. So we're hoping as well, when we do sit with you, to basically talk more about your plans and see where you are again. And we're hoping, through your poems, you're able to uplift others and inspire others, and encourage them, like you said. So thank you, for your time. And what I want you to do in closing is, if you have any advice or words of encouragement for our young viewers, I need you to just share it with them.
My words of encouragement.
I need you to look at
I always say. I always use these words, or I follow them on a daily basis. It's from a poem. I forgot the writer, but I really love what they have to say. I'm not sure of the words, but I'll give you what I know for now. I can remember. It goes like, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's not our light, but our darkness that most frightens us. And your playing small does not, I think it talks about, it does not give others freedom, or it doesn't make any difference, but then rather put out your own light and let it shine, so that other people can learn from you. Maybe sometimes when you're withholding whoever you are, or if you feel that you will be too much for other people, in that time there's also someone who could have learned from you. So that poem it talks a lot about standing out, and that you shouldn't be afraid of who you are, and you shouldn't be afraid of the gift that you are given. So you should let your own light shine, because when you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. I think that poem goes something like that.
Wow, that is deep. Let your light shine. And you are letting your light shine, even though you're still not fully there. You're like, you take one step forward and you're back again. And, but I'm more comfortable with where you are now, because 4 years, 5 years ago, you were not here. So you've kind of moved as well, by being what you're saying about shining your light through your poems, through others. So thank you. We wish you all the best, and thank you as well. You spoke about, you just heard that we went for a program with the homeless, and you said, oh, you know what, I want to volunteer for Bold Move. Thank you. We are going to be in touch, and I hope you know what you're going to sign yourself up for.
I'm not scared.
You're not scared. You'll love to.
I always try my best when it comes to the townships, especially with the little ones. So I'm sure even now, even though they're shocked, who are these people and what are they doing here? They will ask me when you guys go home. But then they know when it comes to people, I'm always hands-on. Whatever age you are, if you need something, even if I have one slice of bread, we'll share it together. So I was raised by a woman who does that, who sacrifices what we have for someone who's never had food maybe for a couple of days. And she'll be like, no, but you ate yesterday. They didn't. Let's repeat it to them. So I really want her to continue within me.
The legacy she's left with you.
I want people to see her through me, because she built a very good legacy.
Wow. What was your granny's name?
She was Nopumzile Signoria.
Oh, beautiful name. Beautiful name. Wow. Thank you once again, Lamla.
Thank you, Mama.
We thank you for the opportunity to be here, live all the way from Nyanga Township in Cape Town. Don't be afraid about what people say. Yes, the crime rate is high in this area. You have to be careful and so on. But it doesn't mean you can't go to there, because people live in that area too. She was actually more worried for us about coming to Nyanga than here. But anyway, I've loved having this session with this young poet. If you want to support our work, we'll share details on our YouTube at the end. Remember, let your light shine is what she's advising to the young people and old people as well. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I just look forward to more of Lamla taking the platform out there in the world. And COVID and technology has shown us that yes, she does not need to be restricted to Nyanga, nor Cape Town, nor South Africa. And we know we've got all you wonderful viewers and supporters of what we do in America, in Canada, in UK, everywhere. So if there's any way you can help support young people like Lamla, reach out to me. She can take part in any competition or perform, as well virtually in any event, because she needs to be encouraged. She needs to be molded. She needs to grow and be able to grow others. You heard her. She's in the township. She has a lot of challenges and daily issues she struggles with, but she's still ready to put back for the younger ones coming up after her. So all kudos to her grandmother and herself as well for being teachable. So till next time, this is Mama K signing off. Remember to stay safe, stay positive. God is love, and I love you all. Thank you.